Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations, where we try to present evidence to break the final lock on Iris's psych lock. At this point in time, to prove that there was more than two of her. I'm wondering if the evidence itself is Iris's hood, because of course one was handed over to me, but another person was seen wearing the hood, and they were kind of individual themselves, or more to the point, you know, can't be two places in one time. This is like physical evidence, not testimony that this is the case. So let's give it a shot, shall we? As we look to break things through after finding out more stuff from Edgeworth as well. Mr. Wright, when you said there was another me, I was kind of expecting someone who looked like me, you know? Okay, I'm wrong. I tried to look for physical evidence. I'm sorry. I guess so. In that case, are you saying that I look like this person? It's not a person, it's your hood. Well, I can't say with 100% certainty, but can you show me something you are 100% certain about then? Okay, then take a penalty. I really need to get to the bottom of this. Iris is determined to hide something from me. I can't drag it out of her unless I can show her some irrefutable evidence. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I don't mean to be uncooperative, but you're seriously trying to suggest there's more than one of me? Then show me the evidence. Show me something that proves there was more than one of me. Well, I thought that would have proved it because, you know, item of clothing, actual physical evidence, someone saw you, yada yada yada. Really what you want then is Dahlia's profile. Take that! I knew that. I have a firm grasp of the situation now, Iris. You have a sister, don't you? A twin sister, perhaps. Ah! That's right. Dahlia Hawthorne. A woman I know only too well. I had no idea you knew of her. Very impressive, Mr. Wright. But she's no longer... Yes, I know. Her sentence was carried out recently, wasn't it? I'm sorry. Thank you. I don't know why I'm apologising. I mean, she was a murderer. I may have convicted her and all, but still, she's a murderer. She kind of deserved it in that sense. There's no need to explain now, is there, Iris? The second you, who was here at the temple on the night of the murder, was your twin sister, Dahlia Hawthorne. But you just said it yourself a second ago. My sister's dead. Have you forgotten that? Have you forgotten this, Iris? This is a channeling dojo, a training ground of the Korean channeling technique. That night, someone channeled Dahlia's spirit, and you knew about it. And that's the secret you've been trying to hide from me. Nah! Well, now we broke it. Not with the evidence I thought, like the actual physical stuff. Just saying you got a twin sister. That helps, does it? At least it's during that, so we can get our health back. Right, the night of the crime. Let's get down to it. I was in my room in the main hall that night. As soon as I heard that I'd been spotted at the inner temple, I knew. I knew it was my sister. Dahlia, the other half of me who passed away last month. Just as I suspected. The Iris the Sister Bikini saw at the inner temple on the night of the murder. It was Dahlia Hawthorne. Why didn't you tell me this before? Because my sister always does the right thing. Excuse me? Because I mustn't get in the way of what she's trying to do. I already betrayed her once before. I can't do it again. You betrayed her? What do you mean? That's why I have to accept I may be found guilty. It's the only way. What is she talking about? Why go down for a dead person, in some senses as well? You know about it, don't you, Mr. Wright? About the fake kidnapping that took place here on Eagle Mountain 11 years ago? That was the start of it all. It's what started her down that twisted path. She started to commit crime after crime, and in the end, she lost her life. It's all because I betrayed her. How did you betray her, Iris? It was no coincidence that Eagle Mountain is where the exchange was to take place. After all, I helped plan the whole thing. What? But I got scared, so I ran away. What are you talking about? Why would you help her? Stealing $2 million from your own father, that's awful! But I promised that I'd help. And she didn't do it for the money. Huh? It was revenge. On our father. Revenge? Right, you're gonna have to tell me more. Oh, another conversation one at the top. What do you mean by revenge? He was a hideous man. He threw our mother away and then sent her to hell. Her mother? She must be talking about Morgan Fay. Our mother was the eldest daughter of the main branch of the Fay family. The main family had a lot of influence in many business and political circles at the time. As the eldest daughter, our mother was set to inherit all of that as the next master. That's the reason our father married our mother in the first place. For power. But his plan backfired. Because our mother's sister took it all from her. She took over as the master of Corraine. Happy Misty Fay, Mayor's mother. But before long, the credibility of the Corraine tradition hit rock bottom. The new master, Misty Fay is such a hard thing to pronounce, made a terrible mistake. Master Mystic Fay. It was during the investigation of the DL6 incident. After that happened, our father took me and my twin sister away, leaving our mother and our home behind. He hated the place. He said it was a hick dive and he had no reason to stay there. And that's when you came into Hazakura Temple? Yes. The woman my father took as his next wife already had a daughter, Valerie. I had no place in this new family, you see. Oh. And I haven't seen my mother once since then. Having the master's seat stolen from her and being rejected by her own family. I've heard she's been very battered, spiritually and emotionally. I think I'm finally beginning to see how the pieces fit together. I have asked her everything I can in my capacity as a prosecutor. This incident, everything related to it goes back to the history of the Fay clan. That's what it looks like. Iris, there's just one more thing I want you to tell me. What is it? During the incident in which your sister Dahlia Hawthorne poisoned a lawyer, she began a relationship with a certain college student in order to hide the evidence. That college student, have you heard anything about him? Well, I did hear one thing. She said she hated his guts. I see. Thank you for your help. You're welcome. Hurry up, Phoenix Wright. There's still much to investigate. Leave these locks to me. I'll open them for you, I promise. Thank you. I suppose I'd better continue my investigation then. There's still one giant secret left to unlock. Literally, Pearl's psych lock. Right then, over it is. Are you back at the Heavenly Hall? Now that we've been literally ushered a different direction, if you know what I mean. When the game tells you to go, you go. Pearl, are you waiting? Look at that! They really did make a fire right in front of the shack. Oh, Mr. Nick! Ha! You're too late, Nick. If you came here for one of our potatoes, we've already polished them all off. I think I've pretty much got all the evidence I need. Now I just need to find out what Pearls is hiding. Right then, Pearls. Obviously, if your talk commands, is the psych lock we're after. So let's hope not to get one wrong in this one. Take that! Oh, we've got all the evidence. And we're pretty sure you were the channeler. 5 locks surrounding Pearl's, well, face. Of course, she's smaller, so it kind of had to be. In that pattern. After dinner on the night of the murder, you were supposed to be in Elise Doznim's room, leading or reading a book together, correct? Yes, I was so happy when she invited me. But I didn't go in the end. You didn't go? No, there was somewhere else I had to go instead. I was so worried. I had to go. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was so nervous. So Pearls never went to Miss Donim's room? Because she was too worried about something or someone else. Pearls. On the night of the murder, you went to this place, didn't you? That's where we found her, on that side of the brook. No one else could. You went here, didn't you, Pearls? Looks like she's still not going to open up to me. This is where you went because you were so worried, right? Then the next question is, who or what were you so worried about? Now I'm going to take a guess, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, okay?
You mean you know?
If I'm right, will you tell me the whole truth?
Okay.
You went to this place for one very simple reason, and that is this. Present the Magatama? No. Essentially, the one you think of as a sister now.
Take that!
Taking care of you as a new mum, really. It's obvious what you were so worried about, Pearls. It was Maya, wasn't it?
Ah.
You knew the training Maya was undertaking was dangerous. After all, it was a special course.
I signed up for your special course. Well, my. Quite brave of you considering how cold it is. Young people can be so reckless with their health. Don't blame me if you become one with those you channel.
Sister Bikini scared you of what she said, didn't she? And because it was you who introduced Hazakura Temple to Maya in the first place, you felt responsible, didn't you?
Thinking about what could happen to Mystic Maya made me more and more worried. I couldn't sit still at all. That's why I decided to go and find out how she was doing at the inner temple.
Then we're clear now that you went to the inner temple that night, Pearls. What's not clear is what happened after that. About what time was it when you headed over to the inner temple?
It was probably around 9:30 when I left the main hall. I heard the real training was supposed to start at 10. I wanted to get there before it started. But there was so much snow, so I didn't get there until after 10 o'clock.
Until after 10? How did you know what time it was?
Because I heard the bell ringing for lights out.
You heard the lights out bell? The Hazakura Temple bell is pretty small though, isn't it? You must have really good hearing.
I was really trying to pick up the sound of that bell, that's all. I didn't want to miss it. That would be terrible.
She was trying to hear the bell? Tell me, Pearls, why were you so worried about hearing that bell?
Huh? Oh,
I think I know why. The reason you were so worried about that bell was because of this. Right, what do I present here? I mean, it's either because you knew someone was coming. Right. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, you must channel her spirit. Leave everything up to her. It's this, the burnt letter.
Take that!
More to the point, the instructions. You were given some instructions to follow for that night, weren't you? I presume you recognize these pieces of paper?
Ah! Where did you...
In the incinerator at the inner temple. Pearls. You were following the instructions of this letter that night, weren't you? That's why you couldn't afford to miss the sound of the lights out bell.
I'm speechless, Mr. Nick. You're amazing.
These instructions that were found in the incinerator. I believe they were written for you, Pearls.
For me? No.
As you can see, a large portion has been burnt. But the last section is still fairly legible. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, you must channel her spirit. Who was it, Pearls? Whose spirit were you supposed to be channeling? Taking into account the author of the note and their purpose for writing it, whose spirit would Pearls have been trying to channel? Don't overthink it, Phoenix. It's pretty obvious who Pearls was supposed to channel. The person you were trying to channel that night, Pearls, was... Dahlia Hawthorne. The older sister. It was Dahlia Hawthorne, wasn't it? That was the name that was in the letter.
Ah!
It's just as I suspected. It wasn't Iris who Sister Bikini met at the inner temple that night. It was Dahlia Hawthorne. Do you know anything about her, Pearls? Do you know what kind of a woman Dahlia Hawthorne was?
No. I've never heard of anyone by that name before reading these instructions.
I thought so. Pearls doesn't have a clue. She doesn't know that Dahlia is a sister. About the instructions in the letter I found, Pearls. Who wrote them? Whoever it was asked you to channel the spirit of someone you'd never heard of. You must have quite a lot of respect for them. After all, you followed their instructions without question. So here's my next question. Who wrote this set of instructions for you to follow? Well, we know it. Mummy dearest. Pearls, I have to wonder about something. You didn't have any idea what these instructions meant, did you? Is that your heartbeat there? But you followed them to the letter regardless. Why? Because it was your own mother who asked you. That's why.
How did you...
I figured it out. The person who wrote you this letter was your own mother, Morgan Fay. Last lock. Alright, Pearls. It's time you started telling me the truth.
Miss Nick,
Why is she holding back from me? I don't like this.
Don't underestimate me just because I'm a child.
Huh?
If you're trying to say I followed these instructions, I'd like to see some proof.
What?
Because I didn't think you have any.
She'd say anything rather than admit to carry out these instructions. I guess I'll have to produce some more evidence then. One more thing should do it. Alright, Pearls. We both know someone carried out these instructions on the night of the murder. But you're right. There's no evidence that proves it was you.
I knew it.
However, I do know that whoever did it was a child.
Huh? How'd you know that?
It couldn't have been an adult. No adult would have made a simple mistake like that.
A simple mistake? What do you mean by that?
I'm sure you thought you were carefully following the instructions you've been given, but you misunderstood some of the words. And this is the evidence that proves it. Misunderstood some of the words. Right, be careful, once nightfall should be there. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, you must channel a spirit, leave everything up to it. So it's part of the instructions here. Her name is, the whole, essentially that's about Dahlia. Here's a picture of her, use it when you channel her, I know you can do it, fine. What's this burn that also make, tell anyone about this letter? Gravely roast the master in the fires of Hades and bring our vengeance to fruition. I mean, when you read it and take out what's obscured, it's that sentence there. Pot roast, anyone? Does anyone wish for some gravy roast? That's a very big misunderstanding, if I'm right. But what could be the reason for daubing gravy on something, after all?
Take that!
It was you who splattered gravy on this hanging scroll, wasn't it?
Ah! What? Why would I do something like that?
Do you remember what was written in a letter? Gravely roast the master in the fires of Hades and bring our vengeance to fruition. You didn't know how to read the words gravely and roast, among others, right?
How did you know that?
Remember the conversation you had with Miss Doe's Nim on the night of the murder? Perhaps we can read some books together.
Really? I'd love to. I'm not very good at reading.
Well then, would you like to practice reading with me?
Miss Elise, so for example, how do you read this?
It says gravely. That's kind of a tough word. Sure, Miss Donim taught you how to read gravely and roast. Interesting question though, that means she saw the letter. Which were basically like instructions on revenge of the murder. Which now makes it really weird. I guess you only read one page though. But that's the page with like fruition stuff, wasn't it? Sure, Miss Donim taught you how to read gravely and roast. But what she didn't teach you is what they meant. Gravely sounded like gravy to me.
And the only roast I could think of was the food.
Get the voice right. And that's why you did it. That's why you covered the picture of the master in gravy from that night's pot roast.
To be honest, I did think it was a bit strange. I guess I really did get the wrong idea.
Just a tiny bit.
I really am useless. I couldn't even burn the letter properly as my mother had asked of me. Such a simple thing, and I couldn't even do it right.
Well, there goes the Cyclock. As more talk options appear. So it's time to get the information out of Pearl about that night. But to be honest, that's just brought up another question as well. Surely Elise wrote that letter. Surely Elise read the letter. Surely Misty read it. Join me next time, as now we ponder on that point. Bye-bye.